Yeah. We're live.
A Saturday, baby.
We are live. Give him put him on a 3-minute timer, and then I'm starting it. I've got bad guys to kill. I gotta make sure I stay a higher level than Chad.
You got
That's
plenty
not
of
gonna be
time.
hard, dude. You got plenty of time. I ain't catching up for a while. Like I need you to help me do pinnacles, like the dungeon and other stuff.
Like I said I've got a pretty good chunk of that campaign done.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
the second time
You'll be
too.
fine. It's easy. You're doing it on classic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fast. It's real fast classic.
Breeze through one-shot stuff.
Yep.
One-shot the bosses.
Dude, the bosses, yeah, it's ridiculous. Like one rocket and then Jared's Nova Bomb hits them and they're just boom.
Yeah.
It's
I've been
excellent.
using the double volley with not Lord of Wolves, Fourth Horseman. Pretty
Okay,
effective.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I haven't tried it, but
Just-
I think it.
Pretty good.
I think it works if you do the void dive with the trench barrel shotgun. It should proc trench barrel at the same time.
Oh my
Ooh.
goodness.
I've got a couple. I've got way more. Whenever I was looking back through my vault, I had a lot more trench barrel stuff than I realized that I did.
Mm-hmm. Like I.
Oh, I
haven't-
got a Gambit Memento
Oh, you did?
thing. The other,
You
yeah,
did?
like the other, yeah.
Those
I
are pretty
didn't
rare,
know
man.
If I use it, I don't know if I'll lose it.
I
Yeah.
think you lose
I'm
it.
Yes.
I'm terrified to put it on something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the good thing is if it's a crafted weapon, you can just keep on changing the weapon so it'll never go away.
It'll stay on there.
Yeah, it'll stay there.
Well, I mean, it has to be a crafted weapon for you to equip a memento, right?
I don't know.
There's a
I haven't
memento.
gotten one, so I don't know.
Yeah. I imagine so.
And it says
Yeah, I
like
would assume it.
you get like something at level 10, something at level 20, and something at level 30. Like,
Ooh.
Yeah.
Man, I
know.
want to put a memento on my osteo then. I think it's level 28 right now.
I've got mine up to like
It's so
14 or 15. I just really want to. I've been trying to get to where I can get that caddy
Mm-hmm.
slap on it, but
Yeah. So once you do, it looks. I looked at it. So I looked at it. It looks like you can do master regardless once you hit 13.
Mm.
So there's the normal. There's a legend or hero, legend, master.
Yep.
Each one has as a reward. It shows ascendant alloy. So I think you can do 3 free ones a week.
and then buy one. So
And then
you
buy
could be
one.
sitting at.
Now I don't know if it's account based, because the thing, or if it's character based, because that could be 10 a week for free if you do it. If you do each tier, we'll have to try it once you guys get to 13 and we go in there. We'll
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Because the master is 1590.
Ooh.
That ain't no thing. I'm already pretty close to that.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
All right. Fox has been 4 minutes on
1
now.
week since.
All right, we ready?
Yeah.
I
All
sure.
right.
I think
I'm
so.
about to hit start recording. You guys good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're doing words,
Jared-
then
Jared.
music, back to words, right?
Words. Yep. Words, music, words.
Okay.
We are live for episode 49 of the Conqueror's Corner podcast. Today is Thursday, February the 24th. I am an exhausted, not Ryan Fox, here with my fire team, Jared.
I'm out there with you. I think I got a little extra sleep this morning, but man, it's been a long grind going on the past few days.
And the chronicler himself, Chad Ocero.
I had to spend parts of today reading some lore. So we'll have some snippets. It's going to be hard though because a lot of it's spoilery. So we'll talk about that later.
And if you are watching us on YouTube, don't forget you can take us on the road via Spotify, iTunes, and other podcast services. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. Send a spongy friend request and join the Discord server. Hippie, once again, bringing the TWAB this week, but you'll hear more about that after the break. But for now, let's go ahead and hit the intro music from our boy at Link of Time G on Twitter.
All right, as Fox mentioned, Hippie brought the TWAB this week, and thanks for that. I know, Hippie, that it's been hard to pull away from the new Witch Queen expansion, along with Season of the Risen, and there's a lot of stuff going on in game, and just like everybody else, we want to get back in there and start playing, so we're going to do our best to get through this TWAB, give you all some information that you need, and talk about our experiences this week, the first couple of days playing. And we're holding off spoilers till the end of the podcast. So we're spoilers free until we say, hey, there is going to be spoilers after this talk. So everything up until then, we won't be going into giving away anything that happens during the campaign and some of the cool storylines that go on during it. So first thing, initial reaction, man, Witch Queen has been pretty awesome the past couple of days, and it started out first with just an awesome campaign that you all went into together, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We definitely hopped in. We were all sitting there in queue. Ryan making it back just barely after the queue started. So he got in there, even though I was there for a while, but he got in there pretty quick. But yeah, we started out obviously solo just to kind of until we figured out we could all join in mid-mission. And very quickly you could tell that the enemies bullet sponged up on you and hit a little harder once all three of you were together. So I'll be definitely interested in hearing what Jared has to say about the solo campaign. But yeah, definitely first initial thoughts are great.
So
3-player legend.
Yeah. So I went around for the queue. How did the queue go on launch day?
Let's see. So Zen was first. Zen got in there. Gosh, I want to say.
You got in about 15 minutes before you did.
Yeah. So he got in there. I want to say like 9:50 something, because I remember going in just after that. Because I remember
Pacific time, by the way.
Yeah, Pacific time. So I remember just after 10 on my time is when I got in, and then Ryan was very, very shortly after that.
Yeah, it took me. So I actually worked a full day prior to the queue because I'm kind of greedy with my vacation days. So I took Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for vacation, but Tuesday I was able to schedule some patients that were close by, and they let me start coming to their homes at 7:30, which was pretty nice of them. So I think I joined the queue at 12:04 Eastern, maybe 12, like right around. I was about 5 minutes late, roughly, because I have the wimpiest bladder on the planet and had to stop twice to pee that morning. But I got in, I want to say it was like an hour and 20 minutes after. So like 10:20, 10:30, somewhere around there. Pacific time is whenever I would have been on. But once I got in, we got together, and I think it took us 8 to 10 hours, Chad, somewhere around that.
In there, definitely in the 8 to 10. Mm-hmm. I want to say more around the 9 to 10 region, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I wasn't part of queue during the queue time. I didn't start playing until late Tuesday, and I put in about 5 hours that night just straight into the Legendary campaign solo, and then probably another around 3 to maybe touching 4 on Wednesday morning. And as we talk through this Legendary campaign just slightly, there was a couple bosses that I had a lot of trouble with. Whenever you play through, you'll see it, the one that's in the dark room that you have to shoot some lights. That's it. That one gave me trouble, but other than that, I might have died to a boss maybe once. I think a lot of time I got a flow of it and it didn't die at all until the final stand with the last boss, which was really cool. But overall, I think it took me like just over 8 hours to do it solo. I see the difficulty was right there with like not quite as hard as a Bastard Lost sector, slightly easier than that. And I think if you've been playing the game like for like kind of for a while, even if you're not a person that like dives into raids and doing Grandmasters, that the Legendary campaign is very doable for a big majority of the player base.
Yeah, I hopped in the solo Legendary campaign on my second character, and the main thing is you can't get greedy. Just play patient, and it's not bad at all. Patience is going to be key, and you'll find out what works for you, especially the new Void subclasses. I ran on Warlock as the first time, and I ran through Hunter on the second character, and I basically stayed in Void subclass the whole time. Were you guys in the Void, or did you branch off from it?
Yeah, I put on Void Hunter and I didn't take it off. And I think
I definitely put on the Void Titan. I was there off the rip, and I only took it off to do a bounty or two, and that's about it.
yeah, I haven't took it off yet on Hunter. I just kept it on the entire time. We even raided the other night. I just kept Void on. What did you all think? This has been, out there a lot. They advertised the how the Hive got the light, and there's the Arc Wizard, Void Knight, and Solar Acolyte. If you had to rank those 3 of like hardest to kill, the easiest to kill, how would you put those?
Solar Acolyte number 1, and it's like a S tier difficulty compared to the other 2.
Yeah.
For me, and then really the other 2 weren't too bad. There's one. I'll briefly say there's one playlist activity that has the Arc Wizard that was kind of annoying, so I would probably do it second, and then the Void Knight is a pretty distant third, in my opinion.
Yeah, Chad,
Ooh,
you feeling that?
I had the Knight and the Wizard flipped.
Okay.
Because even in the Legendary campaign, there wasn't a single time that a wizard got me. But that shield, man, that stupid shield and its homing, it feels like I'm playing Crucible. I'm like, I'm playing the campaign. Why is this thing bouncing twice right at me?
Mm-hmm.
This person ain't Cap. I'm supposed to be Cap.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that thing, and it one shots you, man. Like it'll go flying past me, and I'll move forward, and all of a sudden I'm just dead, and I'm like, well, that's great.
Bounces off.
But the wizard, like, very telegraphed. You can see the sparks coming out, and then you can move. But that acolyte,
yeah,
bro, if you're not behind cover, you're dead.
Yeah.
Like as soon as you see those knives, you're like, well, I'm about a second from death right now if I don't get somewhere.
Oh yeah.
It reminds me of that meme of like the guy putting up the peace sign and then just like crappily disappearing. That's like me every time that Solar Acolyte would come through with his his super, the Blade Barrage super.
As I was playing through with Void Hunter, I just go invis and then go up with Tractor Cannon and suppress him, and then he couldn't use his abilities, and then like just shotgun. And it was a combination of Tractor Cannon and Heritage a lot for me. And after I killed it with Heritage, I go back to Invisible, and I probably stayed invisible for probably about 50% of my encounters in that. Just getting through it. But there's a lot of
Do,
Void 3.0 to talk about and build into as to go
do you
through the
think
season.
you think tractor cannon's gonna end up being meta for like difficult stuff?
No, because I really don't think most things you want to get up close to.
Fair enough.
Like even like with the new weapon glaive, I'm not crazy about it. About how close you got to get for the most part. So I don't see us using it in Grandmasters, but could be wrong. I have to see when those come around. All right, so I think overall, I think the solo might be just a tad bit faster than what you all went through. Just dealing with how much ammo you got pumping the bosses, and when playing with two other people, got to use restroom breaks or go take care of this, go eat food,
Yep.
stuff like that. So if you do something on your own time compared to that, I think solo just just a little bit faster. Rewards.
I do want to mention.
Yeah.
Let me mention real fast. The part that we had the most difficulty with was the final boss of the campaign. I think it took us. I think we wiped like 5 or 6 times before we beat it. But like once we kind of like buckled down and actually talked about a strategy, we beat it our first try. After that, we didn't really have to like talk and plan as much as you do during like a GM, for example. But for whatever reason, that final boss was you had to be. It was a little tedious, and I don't want to spoil anything, so I'll just kind of leave it at that.
Rewards wise, so with Legendary Campaign, you got the double chests at different parts in the missions. Most missions had 3 sections, so you got 6 chests total, and then there was maybe one mission where you only get 2 chests or so. I felt very rewarded going through the entire Legendary Campaign and then having a full set of 15-20 armor and weapons at the end, let alone also getting one of the new exotics, which was like the worst stat rolls possible on the
Yep.
exotics. But
It's just to unlock it, bro.
I understand, but an exotic at 48 stat level, it's pretty laughable. It was nice to get it. Do you all agree with the rewards felt adequate for the amount of time and difficulty of investment?
Oh yeah, it was raining engrams. Engrams everywhere, upgrade modules everywhere. Like I had to look at my postmaster every once in a while because I'm like, these are not going anywhere if I don't use them. Like I have a full 25 in the postmaster and 25 on me. I have to use it or I'm losing it.
Yep.
So I'm like, yeah, I'll infuse a couple weapons here and there just to give me more options during the story. But it was great. I very much enjoyed just all the raining engrams everywhere. It was great.
So I started with 25 upgrade modules and was able to upgrade my entire weapons and armor every time that you get a chest, which Jared mentioned was like 2 or 3 times a mission. I was able to continuously upgrade the armor and the weapons that I went in with and still never had to go purchase anymore or grab anymore out of the season pass. So I think that was their intent, if I had to guess, was to make it, if you're doing the harder difficulty, you don't just equip your blues and stuff. You're able to maintain your loadout that you want. And I thought it felt fantastic. The one thing that we did run into, and I think it was Chad actually that it happened to first, he actually hit 1500 prior to the end of the campaign, and he got a prime engram because at that point he was eligible for primes. He somehow got a prime engram to drop before he got his 1520 gear and after he got hit 1500. So pro tip, pick one piece of armor to delete on that first character every time it gets to 1500, whether it be helmet, arms, yada yada yada. Pick one, never let it hit the 1500. That way you don't lose out on a prime engram.
All right, next is we're going to talk about a little bit of Season of the Risen that's going to be going on. That's going alongside with the Witch Queen. And I would just say the storyline plays straight into what happens during the campaign. So there's a lot of stuff going on there. I feel like it's the first time since they've been doing these seasons that it's playing straight into what's going on with the expansion.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Beyond Light had the hunts, but they didn't have anything to do with Europa at all. They were completely Xivu Arath themed, which was a complete side from the other thing.
Yeah.
The closest you could get was probably the moon expansion, because it was directly linked to the Vex on the moon,
Okay.
which was opened up by the events of the raid. So whatever happened in the raid unlocked all the seasonal stuff, because they didn't release the season until the week after, because they wanted the raid to like impact the moon, which was cool. So it let you get just expansion stuff done, and then like the raid happened Sunday, and then all of a sudden during the raid, all the Vex appeared on the moon, and that was neat. But that was the only
Vex,
like
Vex Offensive? Was that one?
yeah. But yeah, no, this is the first time that the season and the expansion are directly linked together. Like you can link them piece by piece into it, and that just shows how important Savathun and what's going on currently is.
Oh yeah.
So what they did with the Vex Offensive was really cool, for the simple fact that if you weren't a day one raider, you still had something to do on day one raid day, because it opened up that seasonal activity. So hopefully they go back to that. That was a cool idea, I thought.
Yeah, and it was similar to what happened with the Dreaming City. The curse activated after somebody killed the Ahamkara, which was neat.
Soon as redeem.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like, whoa, we all got a cutscene, something's going on. That's cool. So, but again, remember, there's stuff that's locked right now that we don't know about yet. Like, we know that there's some void aspects that we haven't gotten yet.
Yep.
And we're going to get them after the raid.
The other part is, like I said, no spoilers at all. The newest destination feels a little bit Dreaming City-like to me. They're the closest that we've had to it since the Dreaming City. So hopefully there's something to that.
Yeah, I felt that way. And then also, like, just tack on, what's the dungeon on the moon? Why did I just...
Pit.
Pit of Heresy, yeah.
Pit of Heresy.
Yeah, you just combine those two things. And there's, like, a lot of stuff in Pit of Heresy that I kind of see in the new location.
Yep. It's a very good point, Jared.
Season of Risen also is coming out with like a bunch of weapons too. It has 6 weapons just going on with it: pulse rifle, sniper, machine gun, bow, wave frame, solar grenade launcher, and an auto rifle. And Chad was right how all this stuff is tying into the Cabal in the previous episodes and his foresight, and this stuff looks really cool, along with the armor that's going on, and it's got some horns on it. And that Titan headpiece looks like 90% of what Kaido's helmet looks like to me.
I mean, it would make sense that the Cabal made the armor for us, and they made the Titan ones closely to match to Kaido's, because she does respect Zavala a lot as a leader. So it would make sense that she'd be like, you know what, your class gets the one that looks the best, and what looks the best is my armor. So I like it. I like that a lot. It's neat.
Once again, it was cool to hear Kaido's voice again.
Yeah.
So, pretty cool character, I thought, from a few seasons back. So I was happy to see that. I haven't got. I think I've got maybe the pulse rifle out of that. It's hard to talk about these, then maintain spoiler free, so I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be diving into weapons, just giving people a little more time to get into the game and experience it. next week, is the podcast before day one raid. So that's probably going to eat up the majority of what we talk about. But before we get to what's going on with Game to Give, Bungie did tweet out about stuff about the raid. That's next week's TWAB is going to have more information about it. And then also you need to be 1530 power to get all the way through the raid with being at the Delta for day one challenge. So 1530.
And the way that's worked in the past is that that's the number that you need for the final encounter, which means that the boss is going to be like, what's contest mode? 15 under?
20.
20 under. So the boss is going to be at 1550 power. And let's assume that there's 4 encounters, because that seems to be the number here lately. Maybe 5. It kind of stair steps 5 below. So maybe if 1530 is what you need for the final encounter, a lot of times you only need like 1505 or 1510 is what you would need for that first encounter in order to be at the least disadvantage due to the contest mode.
Okay, we're going to get into Game to Give charity. Bungie says, be a light in real life by doing some good. So last year, they did the Game to Give charity event, and they raised, as a community, it went to raise $1.6 million. This year's goal is $2 million. This is going to organizations of direct relief, Voices of Children, and International Rescue Committee. This is kicking off on February 24th, which is today. It is going through March 2nd. On March 2nd at 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Bungie's going to be doing their own live stream of the event, and they will have some milestones that they hit during it that will give stuff out to the community. So, like 5,000 is a release of the TWAB header early, and then all the way up to 50,000, which is the reveal of the Wear TWAB T-shirt. So,
Jared, you gonna get that? You gonna get that T-shirt, Jared?
Absolutely, I'll wear it every Thursday.
Yeah, I think if they have it in fat boy sizes, I'll probably pick it up too.
I'll probably have to get 2 of them.
That what?
I
Yeah,
have to get
same-
2 because I'm
same
gonna
as
be
Jared.
wearing them all the time. It's gonna wear it out. I'll be wearing it every
I
Thursday.
think man, if you ever see somebody in a Wear TWAB T-shirt, you know that they're on our level. That's that's like slapping an L on your forehead. You know what I mean?
The funny thing is, only the people that know would know that's an L.
Mm-hmm.
Other people just be like, I wonder what that means, and then just go about their day.
Right.
But like, I would get 2, not because one would wear out, because once a shirt wears out, I'm done with it. But like the second one, I would hope to bring to an event and have like DMG and have all the community people sign it and be like, yeah, this is my community T-shirt. You know what I
And
mean?
I'd probably have to get 2 to sew them together to make one. So.
Well,
we can
yeah,
all
front
just
and back.
direct you.
Wear TWAB, wear TWAB.
So there's some incentives that's going on here with how much you donate. So $10 is like it's the first amount that you get something. That is the Light Keepers emblem, all the way up to $5,000, which is a limit of only 5 donors that can take this, which is the first 5 people that donate $5,000 gets to bring their fire team to tour Bungie whenever their studio is finally finished. So
How much would our wives hate us if we pulled our money together?
I think it
Not at all.
It would have to be a raid team
For me.
then. If it's
I
not
got
a
a-
fire team.
I have a cruise. I have a cruise booked for like 4 weeks, 5 weeks out.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure if I just diverted all the money going to Carnival and send it to Bungie, we could get at least half of it for that. And I would also be divorced.
Yeah.
So that's the other part. The other part.
I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze on that one. All right, so this charity event's usually always good and a nice time in the community. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people out there streaming with different incentives, and usually like if somebody donates so much money and they meet a milestone, they're like dye their hair or shave the beard off or something like that. So it'd be cool to see what's going on in the community as this gets kicked off.
Usually, Destiny Community Podcast, DCP, has some pretty cool incentives.
Mm-hmm.
So I would check them out and see what's going on there.
That basically does it for the TWAB. There's a lot of Artist of the Week, movie of the Week, and all that good stuff. Basically, it's a pretty light TWAB about, hey, get out there into the new content and get the grinding, get the gaming. So,
And I just want to mention that My Name is Bife got the screw job by not getting movie of the week.
yeah,
His 2-hour movie that he put out about like the lore of Destiny, specifically like Savathun related, that released on, when did he put that out? Like Friday or something?
I thought you put it
Friday
out
or Saturday?
Monday.
You might be right.
I
Whatever day it
I
was.
want to say it was someday after Friday.
Yeah.
Someday after Friday, someday before Tuesday. He released this, and it's like an hour and about we'll just call it 2 hours, and it's like animated, and you know it was really cool. And there was allegedly an automatic takedown that got put out, but Bife has tweeted out that it was an error and they're working on getting it restored. So check that out. It's called Dynasty. The YouTube, My Name is Bife. He is the second best lore guy for Destiny.
That's right. Number one guy's right here in front of us. All right, Chad. Any last thoughts on the TWAB or going through the early stages of Witch Queen?
I have no more thoughts. We can move on.
All right. So we actually have like a light weapons breakdown this week, and that's basically just talking about weapon crafting. And our boy, not Ryan Fox, put out an article this week talking about weapon crafting and breaking it down. So, Fox, you go ahead and lead us off on your early thoughts. And
I didn't know that I was going to be the one leading this segment. So, so here's the deal. Weapon crafting is very overwhelming and confusing whenever you start. The campaign does a job with the glaive, which is the new weapon that you get that's been advertised. It's not a spoiler. It basically gives you the materials needed to craft your glaive. It's kind of an introduction into the crafting system. I personally didn't feel good about the crafting system until 20 to 25 hours into playing this expansion. So you have the initial craft of the weapon, which is called shaping. And then after you use the weapon and level the weapon, not power level, not like the power or the light level of the weapon, but literally like the XP level of the weapon, which is progressed by getting kills with the weapon or completing activities such as gambit activities, missions, strike playlist, those type of things. Those also give you a pretty big chunk of percentage to upgrade that weapon. So what you're able to do, once you do that, you're able to go in, and the more leveled your weapon is, which, Chad, how high did you say you have some weapons leveled?
My Enigma is at 16, and my Osteo Streak is at 28.
Okay, so I think it goes to 30. This is based upon the text that is on a memento that I've unlocked. So as you progress further in level, you unlock more perks and traits. So perks include things such as like Kill Clip, Rampage, Thresh, Feeding Frenzy, like etc. And then traits, you have things such as Appended Mag, Assault Mag, those accurized rounds. And then some guns have sights, such as like True Sight, or others have like Full Bore, or like weapon. What's the word I'm looking for?
Barrels and mags and
barrel
scopes.
attachments, Full bore, small bore, those type of things. So depending upon the weapon that you have, those are kind of laid out for you. So obviously, the better perks are at the further end of leveling up that weapon. So those are going to be locked off the rip initially. There's also currency, but I'll get into that here shortly. So first of all, you can only craft a select, but like a Bungie curated list of weapons at the moment. Surprise, surprise, these are the new weapons that have introduced to this expansion. So you have like the glaive, you have the new submachine gun, you have 2 new rocket launchers, things like that. So in order to unlock those weapons to be able to be crafted, you have to unlock the pattern for that weapon. So unlocking the pattern is a little bit truly it's very much RNG. So throughout playing the game, you're going to acquire weapons as you did prior, except a percentage of these weapons that is, what'd you say, like 1 out of 10 is a red bordered weapon. Would you guys say that's fair?
Yeah, that's pretty
Like 10%.
fair.
Yeah, I'd say that.
So 10% of these weapons they have a red border around the weapon. So when you have that red border, it could do one of 2 things. That means it has either deep sight resonance, which is a big fancy term for materials needed to upgrade, or it could drop the pattern. So what I didn't realize until later is, in order to unlock the pattern, a lot of times you have to get lucky to get the drop of this red bordered weapon multiple times, and then get kills with that weapon, and then like the machine gun, like the heavy machine gun, that is like the new one requires 3 patterns to be completed before you unlock the pattern at the weapon crafting table to be able to craft it and then upgrade it and then reshape it in order to, like, once you level up the weapon, in order to add better perks. So it's kind of RNG. There's one quest that's very annoying once you get to a certain step of, because it requires you to craft 2 of the seasonal weapons that are on a very player unfriendly rotation, and you have to get like 3 of each. So not only do you have to get the weapon to drop from the activity, it has to be the red bordered weapon, it has to be the pattern version of the red border, and then you have to get that 3 times for each of these weapons. So it's time gated in a way, which is frustrating, but it could be worse. But don't think you can come in and right off the rip and get like a dire promise and get it with the exact perks you want, or something like that, because it's just not how it's set up. Bungie has basically made this, in my opinion, to where in 12 to 18 months from now, they have us using the weapons that they want us to use. I think this is like the great sunset, without calling it sunsetting. So I'm interested to see what you guys think of this.
Yeah.
First of all, and then after that, let's talk about the materials after you guys weigh in here.
So my initial thoughts was like, all right, cool. I get a weapon, say that's that new machine gun, right? It's like, I should use this machine gun so the game knows I use this machine gun so I can level it up. That's not the case. The only weapon that you can level up is the one that you craft. Even though it looks exactly the same, except for the red crafting squares of the weapon as like the one you get from doing an activity. So now I can use this weapon that I like the roll on it, but get no progress towards unlocking the perks of that weapon in the Enclave. So that's one thing that's a negative to me. A positive is that the mags and barrels seem to be at the early levels of the weapons. So, to me, that's something that makes a weapon feel very good or bad. It's just the mag and the barrel. It's like, to me, on polished rifles, I really like arrowhead brake that really tighten up the recoil, and then maybe something in that mag perk that might help stability or just straight up help range. So to me, it's one of those things that Bungie got 95% the way there, and that last 5% is pretty annoying about leveling up the weapons.
I think the part that you're mentioning is annoying, but I'm going to give them the benefit that they had to overhaul a system. Like they basically have to run two systems at the same time. Like this feels like, it almost feels like what Destiny 3 would have launched as a weapon system. And if that was the case, I wonder if the gripes that we have would still be there if this was a brand new game, as opposed to trying to shoehorn this system on top of the system that we already had and like having to deal with running both. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah. I understand what they're doing. They're bridging the gaps between two separate systems. But it still feels bad to get a good feeling weapon, and that's like an RNG drop of a good feeling weapon, knowing that I am getting nothing benefited from without using the weapon that is terrible that I crafted, that doesn't have the perks that I want. And I have to use that for a long time compared to the exact same weapon. And
That's true. That's true. I guess the good thing is that it doesn't take near as long to level up these weapons as I thought that it would take. I've got, within like 1 day of play, I've taken one of the weapons from like a level 2 to like a level 15. And Chad in 2 days has one weapon, or really probably a day and a half, one weapon already at level 28. So it's not terrible to level them up. It could be better. The system's not perfect. I didn't expect it to be perfect. It's actually better than I thought it would be, to be honest. So I am overall happy with how it is. There are certain things that annoy me where yours seems to be more, I have to use this weapon that's not the crafted weapon, even if it's, I have to use the worst version in order to help myself later down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is, it takes there's a lot of RNG tied to be able to get the pattern, to be able to craft the weapon just to start. That's my biggest gripe.
How you feeling, Chap?
I guess it's a mix of the two, but probably not to the same levels as you guys, since it's both of them. I have a really good rocket. A rocket that I've been using. I've been maining it since I got it. It was literally the first stasis rocket I got, and I still have it. Problem is, I don't want to use the one I crafted to level it up because it doesn't have the perks I want. It just wouldn't be good. Now I'm going to have to suck that up and just do it so that I can craft it, because the point of that is that I can have a PvE, I can have a crafted rocket that can be PvE, PvP, or if there's like a setup that is better PvE, I can change it. And it could just flip-flop all over the place. And then I can dismantle all the other rockets that I got. But for now, it's like I'm using the rocket that I have until I want to level up the other one. And then I have the same thing with the machine gun. I have a really good machine gun that I like, but I haven't been able to get it to craft it so that I can start leveling it up and using the bad rolls of it. And just like if I'm mindlessly grinding strikes to rank up, or if I'm mindlessly grinding gambit, I'm just going to have it equipped or equip it at the end so that it'll level up. And then that way I can actually give it the perks I want. My main gripe is material capping. I like how we're all split. I feel both of the ones that they said, because I do. I do feel it. But like Ryan said, I didn't expect anything perfect. I expected something new, and there's gonna always be things that need to be changed. But my main thing is caps on materials. I have capped out all of the materials in 2 days.
So the cap is 250 on these materials.
It's 250 on the materials
The
you get
four-
from specific perks. The
Yeah, so
the what was it? The energy that you get is unlimited. I have like 9,000 of that. But the material you get from dismantling legendaries caps at 80. So you either keep the legendaries in the vault so you can just dismantle them later, not care that you're at the cap and just deal with it as time goes by. Or like Gunsmith sells legendary weapons, you can always just grab one and dismantle it for material for the just for that energy to, or just for that material to craft a weapon. But yeah, it's 250. You get 12 per weapon whenever you finish the deep sight on it. You get 12 based on the perk that you pick. And you can pick out of the two, because there's 4 different kinds from what I can remember. And each one has a cap of 250. Why they have a cap makes me annoyed, because now I have like 7 weapons in the vault that are completed, but I haven't cashed in because I wouldn't get anything. So now my vault is getting filled up with weapons that are just sitting there as a bank, doing nothing.
So there are 5 possible elements, 4 of which we have access to right now. We have the
Okay, that
ruinous
makes sense.
elements. We have the ruinous
Hardwood.
elements, which are damage or projectile modification related trait
Mhm.
perks. The android elements, weapon performance related perks, weapon performance related trait perks, handling, stability, etc. Mutable elements, ability modification related trait perks, and energetic elements, ammo or reload related trait perks. So that's kind of what they correspond to. And then last but not least is the drowned elements, and these we know are raid exclusive trait perks. So obviously the raid hasn't released yet, so we haven't got those, which makes me think that we're gonna get some red bordered pattern raid weapons, which
Yeah.
should be interesting, and will give us hopefully an excuse to run that raid multiple times a week, so it's not a 3 and done. You know what I mean? It'd be pretty nice to get those raid weapons and unlock the patterns and be able to get those exactly how we want them. I would really like that. The only downside of that would be, I guess it's an evolved system of the, what's the raid currency that you use at the chest at the end?
Spoils of war.
Spoils of Conquest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess it's the new system of that kind of, or do we expect we'll still get spoils in order to buy stuff at the chest as well, which maybe they can drop red bordered? So I don't know. There's a lot of ways they could go.
Yeah, I would say it's going to feel bad if only 10% of your weapon drops have that red border going through a raid, because you can run an entire raid then, and on all 3 characters, and let's say you only get 3 weapon drops, you're not even getting a red bordered weapon that week then.
Yep.
Right.
I feel like the raid ones should be a guarantee, because you don't know. Like, there have been, I don't remember the last time I got a Fatebringer to drop, just in general.
It's been a minute.
Yeah. So like, if that was a start, like since the first one I got, and I had to hope I got 3 bordered ones, even if they were guaranteed, it might take me 7 weeks of drops just to get one to drop.
The worst part is you can get bordered weapons that are just deep sight resonance. They're not even the patterns.
Oh yeah, those ones are just to give you material.
So it's like a double RNG that you're battling. So before we move off of this, in order to see how many patterns are needed, which if you hover over the weapon in your character select screen to where it shows you like the perks that are on the weapon, whenever it's a red bordered weapon, at the bottom it'll say this, you can extract deep sight resonance or you can extract a weapon pattern. So that's how you know which ones give you patterns and which ones give you deep sight resonance, which is that big fancy word for materials. If you go to the screen where you like would select your seal and look at the triumphs on the right hand side, there's one that's called Catalyst and Patterns. You can click on that and track how many patterns you need to unlock the weapon to be able to be crafted at the table.
Yeah, so I think overall the weapon crafting is a great addition to the game, and I think it's going to solve a lot of stuff going forward. But early thoughts, I think, just little gripes here or there, but overall, glad that it's in there.
Most definitely.
All right, next up is lore, Chad. And what do you got in store for us today?
Well, today, seeing as it is a, we wanted to make it a short day, and there's not a lot of lore. Also, based on what's going on, I'm wondering if I need to push this till after. Let's do this after. Let's go spoilery, and then I'll talk about this right after.
Okay.
So we'll hit the mailbag, and then after the mailbag will be the spoiler part of the podcast. But we will let you know before we get into spoilers. It'll be very clear and very obvious that it's time. It's time to turn off if you don't want to hear spoilers. Question 1 in the mailbag: is there any reason to not do the legendary campaign instead of the regular? I just not trying to be mean, not trying to be rude. If you've been away from the game for a while, let's say a year or two, at that point, I don't know why you would be listening to a podcast about the game. But if that is you, I would maybe just jump into the regular and get through it. Because if you're just coming back to the game, you're probably not trying to get ready for a day 1 raid. And if you're not trying to get ready for the day 1 raid, I'm not sure why you would be that worried about doing the legendary campaign on your first character. That's something you would probably build to doing on your second character or your third character.
You can do it at any time too. It's not a big issue to not do it on any character.
Yeah, I'll just
now
treat it. Yeah, go ahead, Chad.
My thing, what we figured out earlier today for us personally, since we are doing day 1 raids, we obviously went in immediately as legendary, and seeing as how we play every day all the time, that's fine for us. We like that, and we enjoy having a challenge. We enjoy having a good time and just grinding content. Now, after the first one's done, to save ourselves time, we went through the classic. Because the first one helped us give that extra 20 bump, so we didn't have to worry about 20 full levels of powerfuls. And then it helped us get there. And then after that, it's not really necessary. Now, I might go back through with my other characters just to, if there's check marks involved, or if I just want a free exotic, one of the new ones, then that's fine. Or if I need other stuff. But honestly, unless you're planning for a day 1 raid, I would say save the legendary until later in the season. Just because it is a challenge if you haven't been playing a lot.
Yep, Chad hit it on the head. All right. Question number 2: do you have a favorite weapon you have been using? I have one, and it's the seasonal solar waveframe grenade launcher. I got Feed and Frenzy 1 for all on it, and it just melts red bars, and it's super fast reload at the same time, because like one wave from a grenade usually hits 3 targets. I mean, there's a lot of density going on in these activities, so I mean it just makes so much sense to me. It's just a lot of synergy, and it pairs really well with an exotic that you get that you can go in your kinetic slot. So that's kind of why I've loved it so well.
I've really enjoyed the Dacis heavy machine gun that you get in the storyline and the perks that roll on that. I've had a lot of fun. It reminds me of kind of a little bit of that Delirium 21% weapon that we had like 2 years ago. That's kind of what it reminds me of. It's like the rapid fired heavy machine gun, and that's probably been my favorite so far.
Yeah, the machine gun is a very close second at the moment. Based on my current level that I stated earlier on my Osteostriga, I would assume that most of you also assumed that I like the gun a little bit. It's great. It's hilarious. It's so much fun. And it's just watching things blow up and spread poison and stuff. I'm playing on my Warlock. I should equip necrotic grips and see if that works because I haven't tested that yet. But it's once I get the catalyst on it, it'll be just a thorn and a huckleberry had a baby, and it's gonna be absolutely magnificent. I'm super excited. But yeah, Osteostriga is definitely a biggie for me right now.
All right,
Question 3. Compared to Beyond Light, how have the subsequent playthroughs of the campaign been? I'm sure that we're all going to agree on this. It has been much better, specifically because you don't have to grind the fragments and the aspects for the like you had to with the stasis subclass. That was the terrible part of that. The void stuff is all kind of available to you up front. Make sure you visit Ikora in the tower as quickly as possible to get the rest of your grenades and things. That's another little tip from me, and
That's
I'm
a
sure from
character
these
thing
guys
too.
as well. Yep,
that's per character.
So much better. It hasn't been near as I haven't dreaded playing back through it near as much as I did with Beyond Light towards the end.
As far as I remember, I mean, the story that's going on with the Witch Queen is so much better than what went on with the Aramis and Beyond Light. So just entertainment of like dialogue and cutscenes, going back through it is way better than what happened in Beyond Light.
Yeah, there's not a lot of running around back and forth. The stasis stuff pulled you out of story a lot and made you grind something for I don't want to say no reason because it was an artificial reason, but not having to do that and actually being able to, because this time I got to play the story, do my grind, and adventure the throne world. The time that I spent last time just sitting in playlists doing unlocking stasis stuff, I'm now spending doing deep sight stuff, just meandering about, looking at things, being like, ooh, that's pretty. What's that? And it's just more fun. It's so much more fun than being forced to play 4 Gambit matches or playing like a bunch of Gambit and having to kill high value targets, or having to play the strikes and have to get kills with this, have to get shatter kills in Crucible. like
The
oh my
shatter
gosh,
kills are miserable.
it's horrible. It's so much more fun just to be able to play the game and just like I'm grinding what I want to because I want to, not because I have to. That's the point.
All right. Next, we got 2 more questions here. The first one is, why aren't the weapons that state they drop patterns giving me the patterns after I get the required XP / kills with the weapon? Keep in mind, I kind of touched on this a second ago, but go to that place where the seals are and look there at that catalyst and triumphs, or I'm sorry, catalyst and patterns portion there on the right-hand side, and it'll show you how many of those RNG red bordered weapons that you have to get and complete before you get that pattern to use at the weapon crafting table. I assume you guys don't have anything to add to that, so we'll just get right here to the last question. If I have limited time, what is the fastest way to be ready for the day 1 raid? Shout out Wesley.
Probably hit the legend campaign. If you have a limited time, so let's say 2 hours a night, 2 hours conservative, like grown adult, dad, and has to take care of business. 2 hours a night, you can smash the legend campaign into week 1. You could probably also, if you have a day off that week and you do want to add like an extra 5 hours, smash out a bunch of powerfuls, smash out some pinnacles if you can. You only need to be, as per Bungie this morning, 1530 is the contest cap. So if you have at least 4 guns per slot, or like a bunch of extra infusible weapons for day 1, and then like a set of armor at 1530 plus, you'll be set. Now that way you can spend the rest of next week doing the powerfuls and pinnacles again on that character, and then getting there. It's easily doable with 1 character in 2 weeks. It's not a problem with that extra 1520 bump from the legendary. You shouldn't have any issues. You should be able to do it, and I believe in you guys.
I would say if you're gonna say if it's 10 hours for the legendary campaign, that's on the probably the slightly longer end for most players. Pair that with maybe like 5 hours of power grinding, 15 hours, you're raid ready if you're efficient.
Yep. We have a good range. We did obviously 2 characters in 2 days, or 1 character in 2 days. And by the end, the range of our final where we're sitting at with a good amount of weapons and stuff is 42 to 49.
Yep.
And that's well above what we need to be at. And that's the first character. So that's 1 week. That's 1 week of doing the legendary campaign and all powerfuls and pinnacles on just the 1 character. And then you're good.
Yep.
That's literally 1 week too.
Yeah, then after that, I mean, just maybe one of the 2 new exotics or something like that, and you're set. That's about. You'll definitely be ready for day 1 if you can put in 15 to 20 hours before it.
Yeah.
All right. It is time for the spoilers part of the podcast. So, if you have not played through the campaign and want to keep all that stuff secret and discover it for yourself, we appreciate you listening and watching. But we are going to talk about everything that we could possibly come up with. Just talk about how we went through the campaign and thoughts on storyline and cutscenes and all that jazz. So I appreciate your time and your viewing experience. So Chad, I think it's time for you to lead us off with the lore. And after the lore, we'll branch out into just general talk.
All right. Yeah, I mean, what I'm going to be talking about is the Martian Missives lore book. It doesn't have anything that's spoilery for the story, but having finished the story will give you a lot more to process what it's about. Now, apparently, these are missives or notes or letters sent to a particular person. So each of these has like a message from an individual while you're doing this storyline. So the first one comes from Osiris, apparently. But I also want to preface everything and state that based on who the main baddie is this year, last year, proceeding for the rest of this year, every lore book that is based off of any kind of Savathun information needs to be seen as suspect. Everything. There's going to be tricks. There's going to be stuff that may not be pertinent or and maybe just blatantly incorrect. So that's how I'm going to see things. I'm going to look at it as cool. This is information that we have, but I can't verify if it's true or not. So the first message comes from Osiris. It says, "May this message find you, Guardian. If it does, then you have once again learned just enough to be dangerous, and you are no doubt seeking guidance. I must preface all I am about to say by asking for your empathy. I've dedicated lifetimes to studying the infinite permutations of reality. I've lived longer than any other Guardian by orders of magnitude, much of it outside what you experience as time. But with the loss of Segura, the time I have left as human lifespan is infinitesimal. Less than a mote in the vast sands of time. All I have of value, my insights, my discoveries, my reputation, they are all rooted in my past, and I do not have the time left to accomplish more, not on the scale we need to survive. There are a few beings in this cosmos who have seen time from the same depths as I have, and fewer still with the intellect to appreciate that perspective, which is why I have made a deal with the devil. I have willingly submitted to Savathun and allowed her to take my place among the Vanguard. The Vanguard have fought like trapped animals for too long. They hoard secrets. Every fact that they learn gets crammed into the barrel of a gun and fired at the heart of our newest target. We are losing this war despite individual Pyrrhic victories. And what pitiful harm Savathun can inflict with our limited resources pales against the value of this opportunity. The Witch Queen sits on a throne of secrets, accredited over 1 billion years. While she huddles in the crumbling ruin of our city, I am left alone in her storied halls to learn all she has seen. Zavala and Ikora are dear friends and noble souls, but they are adventurers. They see immediate problems and crave immediate solutions, and their compassion blinds them to see what can be won through sacrifice, particularly from a man who is, on the scale of guardian lives, already dead. They would stop me, which is why I entrust only you with this knowledge. Keep my secrets and keep humanity safe with this unexpected ally. Do not let my sacrifice be in vain. Now, the point at the end, do not let my sacrifice be in vain. He hasn't sacrificed yet. He's also in a coma. So, when did he write this? Did Savathun let him have control of his body to write it while she was in control? Lots of questions there.
Mm-hmm.
And also, since he is probably the most powerful, or was the most powerful guardian, and also, like he stated, has lived for longer than any being in existence as far as humans are concerned, it's there. She's using that level of respect to kind of make us feel a certain way about Savathun. The next one's from Eris, supposedly. It says, "It seems that our end has arrived this day. Savathun is here. For too long I have dreaded this inevitability in a way that I suppose it's a relief. The sword of Damocles dangles over my head no more. I approached you alone, Guardian, because you have proven yourself unswervingly dedicated to victory over the Hive no matter the cost. Savathun is an enemy unlike any the Guardians have ever weathered, not merely because of her physical power, but also because of her keen intellect and mastery of strategy. She does not make a visible move without first maneuvering all her assets into place. It was all too easy for you to reveal her presence among the vanguard. Make no mistake, she discarded the guise of Osiris because it was no longer valuable, because the reveal was strategically worth more to her. I cannot begin to guess at her true agenda, but I promise you that everything we are doing now is exactly what she wants. There is no one in the last city as soaked in Hive secrets as I am, but my knowledge now becomes a liability. Savathun works her power through secrets, and I am almost certainly her unwitting pawn, a sleeper agent ready to activate when the time comes. I need a friend, and an ally whom I trust to eliminate me the moment I act suspiciously. Do not hesitate, Guardian. Do not second guess. Do not beg me to seek redemption. I am already fallen, and the greatest mercy you can offer is swiftness. There is no one in the last city as soaked in Hive secrets. You alone, with this vital task, Eris Morn." She very easily asks us to kill her if something happens. But also she based on the story of what happened with Savathun, Savathun's definite enemy is the Witness. And who's in the most contact with the pyramid currently out of all Guardians besides us? It would be Eris, right? She's the one in contact with the pyramid almost directly only. So if the Witness is her enemy and Eris is the closest thing to an apostle that humanity has, then Eris would be one of her biggest targets. So twisting that in order to make us target her would make sense. There's another one from Ikora. She's just talking about Finn, or our little ghosty buddy. What was it? Atticus Finch?
Oh, yeah.
That's it. I keep calling him Atticus instead of Finch.
Yeah, he keeps calling him Atticus.
What is
but that's
that?
it.
To Kill a Mockingbird, I want to say. Is that the name of the
Yeah.
main character of that?
Yeah, the lawyer, I think. But yeah, she tells us to scrutinize everything he says, and that he may be an ally now, but we have to pay attention to everything he says with make sure we just put it through the ringer. And then we get a missive from Keitel of all people. She says, "Degenerate fate casts us together once more, Guardian. How I have missed the thrill of pitting my cabal against your unyielding tide of light bearers, truce or no. But it is in the spirit of Zavala's newfound truce that I offer you news delivered by my cabal scouts. My forces recently recovered the remains of a human male on Nessus, vivisected almost beyond recognition using Hive techniques and tools. Our science identifies the unfortunate as your warden of the infinite forest, Osiris. While I will not divulge the details of our confirmation methodologies, rest assured they are thorough and accurate. This news no doubt will shock you, given that you are also in possession of another Osiris still clinging to life. but it is not him despite the confirmation of his identity performed by Ikora Rey. Her admiration for her old mentor has already clouded her ability to recognize an impostor once, and it appears to have happened yet again. It is not custom among the Cabal to allow even a respected leader a third chance to fail their people. I don't know what purpose the Witch Queen could have in giving you a comatose husk wearing your dead ally's face, or what threat he may become. A listening device, a future mole, a living bomb. But understand this. When Savathun brought Xivu Arath to my doorstep, she did so wearing the mask of a trusted advisor. What you hold in your tower is no treasure, and I have faith in you among your kind to handle this problem as a Cabal would. Now she's bringing up the initial Tora bottle incident where she went to her war advisor, the person that actually taught her a lot, and confronted her in front of a bunch of people. And that was the moment that Savathun used to actually open a gate for Xivu Arath to invade on Tora bottle and just completely destroy it. And I mean, we obviously we know that story because Kydal told it to us, but Savathun may know it because, you know, she lived it. But like all these, there's inconsistencies here and there. There's lots of information that's unnecessary and it's leading in a very specific way, and I like it. Oh man, Savathun's great.
The Osiris that we have, that's in a coma,
Yes.
might not actually be Osiris.
Well, based off what Kydal says, she found him on Nessus. But remember, based on the last transmission that we got from Sagira,
Yeah.
he was on the moon.
Uh-huh.
So that's nowhere near Nessus. It's a long ways away from Nessus.
I don't know, man. I think, but I mean, at the end of the season of the Lost, it told us that this is the real Osiris. Like, do you think they
Yeah, but
did
that's
that
also
to misdirect
the
us,
queen.
or? Yeah, I
That's
don't
the
know,
queen
man. I
saying
don't.
that.
I mean, it's always a possibility, but I think that the Osiris that is currently being brought back to health by our boy Saint, I like to believe that that's the actual full-blooded Osiris.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Okay.
I agree 100%.
So, the Burkosaurus was filled with lies, and they kind of got spelled out to us during the campaign of what the truth actually was, and how the three sisters got tricked into taking on the deep and accepting
Yep.
the worms. So now that we know that, so Savathun really isn't that bad.
You
Well,
mean like her moral compass isn't
Yeah.
towards the dark side, you would say?
well, yeah. I mean, look at it this way. The only reason that they took on the worms was because they were going to die. They needed some way to combat their mother, Taux, in order to not die. And the thing that they trusted, that their father entrusted to them, told them to go into the water and not to the sky. So they trusted something to help them survive when they maybe shouldn't have. But again, it was literally attack day. They were literally being invaded when they had to make that decision.
And as humans, trusted the guardian with the light to save them from extinction. So we just trusted the other side of the coin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I really like characters that are dynamic and they like subvert expectations, or characters that live in like that gray area, which is why I think I like the Drifter and not Kydal,
Callus.
her Poppy Callus so much. So I think that is kind of why I drift towards those, because I'm not a person that sees things as black or white. I always see gray area. So whenever there, excuse me, are characters that live in that gray area, that's kind of why I like them. So I think Savathun is one of those. I think that, like with Kailash, we know, Kailash and the Drifter, we know that whatever is best for them, that's what they're going to do. And the lore that we know of Savathun is that whatever is best for her is what she's going to do. So I kind of place her in that same category as the other two.
The only thing that got me was like towards the end of that cutscene was like she didn't say, well, she's like, "Don't say I didn't warn you about the game is now on us if the light or the deep survives or wins out."
Yeah.
So she tried to capture the traveler to keep him safe, if we can believe her.
Supposedly, yeah. I mean, remember she through the memory right before she dies. She says what she said in the trailer. She says, "It's been a long time, my friend, old friend." And then she says, at first as as an attacker, then as a collector, and now as a supplicant. She's gotten rid of her worm. She needs like I said earlier, she needs power to survive. She is a high priority target for the witness. And throne worlds are almost impossible to invade unless the person grants you entrance, or you're weird like Oryx and turn your throne world inside out and put it into reality. But like if we let the traveler go there, it would literally be there, and she would just have to make it so her pocket dimension doesn't get in, like she doesn't grant access to anybody except for us, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible, but we don't know how strong the witness is. We don't know if it can tear reality or move dimensions in space and stuff like that. So we have no clue. I mean, we saw what it did with the planets, right?
Oh,
Who's
like
to
the
say that it
cutscene?
can't?
Oh, yeah.
It can't do the reverse and bring a throne world into reality somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So while we're on the point of the throne world, why is Savathun's throne world so much more colorful and pretty than like the other throne worlds that we've been into?
The light.
I propose to Chad that since we have the darkness in us now, maybe that's what you see. Whereas if you're not affected or a buddy of the darkness, you see what we saw prior.
Well,
But
there's a point in the
Chad says that I'm weird, so I'm probably wrong.
yeah. No, he has fun thoughts. But the ghost at a certain point, who and to talk about your point, does not have any darkness in him because it's a ghost. Only the guardian has the darkness in him. The ghost is literally just light. The ghost says this doesn't look like a throne world. It's bright, and he talks about the architecture and how it doesn't look like darkness at all. Savathun reshaped her throne world when she was brought back to the light. Was initially starting her life again. She had a throne world, so she looked at it and saw the swamps and saw the old one and said, "I don't like this." She's the owner of this throne world, but she doesn't know any of it. Remember, she didn't have any memory of the throne world until we gave it back to her. So she's like, I'm going to make something new. And then she makes the Lucent area brand new when she comes back to life. So that is all created without any influence of her past memories. So it's all based on what she sees before that. So that's, I mean, it's neat.
All right. Do you want to move on to the totally new character that we've seen, and who that character is?
Ooh,
Because I
we
have
don't really know,
Yeah.
but I'll just say the little thing we said is he is a new character model, which is great. I'm always happy about that. We know based off of the little collections tab, the badge for the raid is in, and so we know the name of it is Vow of the Disciple, and we know that we're going into the pyramid. So there's a disciple among the pyramid, which means that the guy we saw in the cutscene isn't the guy that we're going to be raiding against because they're in two different spots. This guy is still coming to our solar system, the one in the cutscene. But whoever the disciple is, who's in the raid, is different. But I'm hoping is the same character model. So like the same lanky dude with the face, and the big strong brow, just like with weapons and armor. I'm hoping.
So the character we've seen is most likely the witness then.
He's either the witness or another person that's a speaker for it.
Okay.
We don't really know. We don't know more than that. But
Well,
it's
they brought up the name the witness a lot in the campaign.
It it's even in just stuff
to like say that so many times and not reveal that character.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. I agree with you, but until I personally have a bunch of proof, I cannot state with 100% certainty whether it is or isn't. It's a high probability that you're right, very high, but without Bungie going and pointing at him, that's him.
Yeah.
I can't say it.
So, talking about the raid, what do you guys expect from the raid? Do you think the witness is going to be the final boss, or is this an introduction of a character for us to, that way we know who we're fighting in the raid, or is this an introduction of the character who is going to be the big boss for the next 2 to 3 years?
I think because it's Valve the Disciple is the raid. So I think the Disciple is going to be the raid boss. And I think it's going to introduce us to a new alien type who's going to be extremely powerful. And like is going to be being introduced over time for the next is going to be the big bad for the next 2 years. But I think the guy that's in there is just like a little dude I call him a little dude. He's a raid boss. But a little dude who is still learning from the witness.
So, do you think that the character that's seen in that last cutscene is like the Thanos coming for the next couple years to compare it to Marvel Cinematic Universe?
I would say that's what Jared would say is he is the witness, and they're giving us a first look at the guy that we're trying to hunt down in 2 years.
Right, because I think it was after the first Thor movie or one of them where you see Thanos like in a ship, so you know that that
with the glove
that he's coming. Yeah, Infinity Gauntlet. But
anyways,
it's a glove.
Think back to the end of Red War when the Traveler came alive and sent out the wave of light, and we finally seen the pyramids like start moving.
That was the last thing. That was the last thing that we saw. First we saw
and then
Mercury.
2 years.
Yeah.
Pyramid on the moon. Mm-hmm. Oh, and then 2 years, we're going into one for a raid.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
So
Ryan's right.
So I had another question. Any chance whatsoever that we see a new enemy, like a modification of current enemies, think Siva the Fallen, or a complete new enemy such as Taken? Remember when they came in, because they were also a modification to any chance that we see that in the raid and that unlocks post raid for the rest of the game, or specifically the Savathun's throne world?
I believe, and I'm hopeful. Actually, not really. I believe I'm hopeful that the Scorn are going to be Siva-ified with darkness stuff on them. So instead of their janky hammered together armor that's just like metal plating they found on the ground, it's going to be the darkness, like metals, like that black, or they've introduced that they have new colors, because based off of the crafting table, there's white, there's green, there's red. Like there's lots of stuff they can do with that material. And so I'm hoping that we're getting Scorn with that armor on them. Because I'm hoping that if you notice in the throne world, we have a pyramid ship on one side in the dark swamps, and then we have Savathun's toilet bowl on the other side in the light. And I think that all the Scorn that are in the swampy area are being directed by the disciple, and his main unit is inside of the kind of like Rise of Irony, how we didn't really see. We saw like little dregs of things, but we didn't see like the major enemies until we actually went into that area. That's my hope,
Right.
is that we get that, because that would be dope, man.
It'd be so
it'd be
sweet. It'd be so sweet.
Yeah, I think we absolutely get something new, as in a boss race. Like one of the bosses is going to be a race that we don't see until like the final shape. It's just like
My gosh.
But I would like almost like what Chad's saying with the Scorn. I think it's going to be more like a taken Lucent Brood is what we will see. So like the Solar Acolyte that also has some kind of taken ability that does some stasis out too or something like that.
Or do you think they'd flip them so the Acolyte turns into a Night Stalker?
Yeah.
The the Titan turns into a Hammer Bro.
I mean it's
And then we got
it's Void 3.0, so I mean it's
man.
definitely a thing that they'll lean more into the Void and
Yeah.
and they take some of those abilities, yeah.
So I know that, Chad, did you have anything else on lore? Because I kind of wanted to talk about one of
No, go for
the
it.
things. So the mission where you get the parasite heavy grenade launcher.
Yeah.
So can we talk about, so that quest was a drag until the end.
Yeah.
And then it was cool. There's a very unique mission to where you had to pick up the worm and then basically run it through checkpoints in a certain amount of time, and there were obstacles, and you weren't fighting enemies, you were running from enemies and avoiding obstacles. I want to say I really enjoyed that mission. I thought it was a lot of fun. It reminded me of a Destiny version of like the mall from Halo 1, like where you're running to escape type of deal. It was a Destiny version of that. You weren't in a vehicle like you were in the Warthog at the end of Halo 1. However, it gave me that mindset of having to be on a timer and you're running while things are coming down around you. Maybe it's because it was the final quest that I did before I finished my Warlock, So maybe that's why it put me in that mindset. But I really enjoyed that mission. It's very unique.
Yeah, the worm lines were great. I mean, we already knew that the worm was going to be put into a gun, but the way Mara did it, she knew we would basically be holding the worm the entire time, so she had to deceive us in order to make the worm believe that it would actually. It's very attractive when people do that. But yeah, I enjoyed that mission too. Although I didn't like that the worm was yelling at me because my bulky, slow Titan butt just kept getting massacred by something random. So I had to hit the start of that mission like 5 times before I actually beat that
Yeah, me
part.
too. Me too.
He's like, hurry up, I need more now.
Yeah, Infant's Hunters make that pretty easy, by the way. So
Yeah.
if you haven't done it yet. Yeah, that's some of that dialogue was some of the best. And then, so that parasite gun, I don't know if you have much used it much, but you kind of got like get a bunch of kills, like damage yourself. So I haven't seen like a lot of the DPS stuff yet, but potentially it can. I've seen people one phase 8 tracks with it, so I think it has.
Man.
Yeah, it's a potential.
How long
I
does
feel
the
like
damage
that's
buff last?
I haven't watched, haven't dove into it.
We'll have to check.
Yep.
I feel like that's like a very high skill weapon, kind of like the hammer Titan thing you could do. I feel like it's at that level probably in order to really benefit from the DPS from it until it inevitably gets buffed here at some point.
And overall, the this is the first time I remember like in a video game where like the end of it, the boss you face, you're kind of thinking maybe I shouldn't have killed her at the end.
Well, the ghost got away, and we have her body.
Yeah.
So if we ever want her back, we can put her body somewhere and let the ghost get it again.
I kind of had the feeling like after the raid, she's gonna be revived.
Oh yeah.
I hope so.
Yep. We're not. I mean, the Queen of Deception is not gonna allow us to capture her without her wanting to be
For
captured.
free. Yeah, I mean, look what happened in the season of the Lost.
What
Yeah.
the lore thing that Chad just said about how Savathun got into the Cabal is by illusion. Savathun is now captured by the shadows and is being stored somewhere. Probably somewhere secure. And now she's in the heart of it somewhere now to be revived.
Yeah, and it's the hidden area, which she had 100% access to for the last, well, if game time is the same as real time, 6 months.
Yeah.
Right.
She's had access to the archives of the hidden and the whole hidden area, unfettered access. So she knows that area inside and out. So maybe she memorized it, and then once she got her memories back, she gave it all that information to Imaru.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of cool places they could go. Was there anything other than that specifically you guys wanted to touch base on?
I really can't. We talked about a lot of stuff that's been going through my head, so.
Nothing really. Just there's lots of lore that's going to be slowly unlocking over the next 3 months. So it's going to be slow, but I'm going to be here to read it and look at it and find moths and unlock stuff and be a psychic detective about it. So that's about it. I'm excited to get back to it.
So one quick question. We've all been playing together pretty religiously since like Shadowkeep, into Forsaken, into Shadowkeep. This is the best I've felt about an expansion like 2 to 3 days in since we've started playing together. I put this one above Beyond Light, and I put it beyond Shadowkeep. I can't speak for what it's going to look like in a month or 3 months or 6 months, but it seems like this one is set up better to be. It seems like this one has a better foundation to build a year upon than the others did.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. First impression is 2 thumbs up from me. I'm happy with it, and most of the gripes that I have are small. There's no major gripe, and that's normally what happens. So I'm happy that it's just a couple of small things that I'm like, whatever.
The most encouraging part is that they are not like overly nasty with their time gating, which makes me think that they're confident in the content that they have coming. It's whenever you see that time gating, that's whenever I start to worry with Bungie. So with that said, I'm not Ryan Fox. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. Don't forget you can listen to us on Spotify, iTunes. Make sure you click the bell, turn on notifications, all that stuff on YouTube as well. And I'm going to let these 2 guys sign off.
A lot of good content out there, a lot of storylines to get through. And, Chad's going to get us all caught up on the lore. But enjoy the game. This is the best Destiny 2 has ever been. Enjoy.
Yeah, definitely exactly what Jared said, and have fun exploring too. If you're tired of grinding some stuff out, just go to the throne world and meander about, do some patrols, and just explore. It's a lot of fun.
Go Cats.